Alright, today I'm going to tie a bleeding popper for you. I use a number 6 Aberdeen hook. I always squeeze the barb down on my hooks before I start. That's the easiest way I've found to do it, is just put it in the vise and let it go. Okay, I'll start with wrapping red thread all the way down the hook shank here. Every once in a while I'll spin my bobbin because I use flat thread, so that just helps keep it flat going down the hook. Okay. There we go. Now I'll start and put a little bit of red yarn in for the tail that I've combed out. Pull all the excess out of it there. I lay it right down along the hook shank. That way I have an even base all the way down the hook. That gives the popper body something to slide on and to hold on to with the super glue. It doesn't have to be perfect because this is all going to be covered up with popper body. And I'll tie it back behind the start of the hook. That way it's extending back off there quite a bit. Okay, now I'll tie in some Crystal Flash to give it some shine on the outside of the yarn. It helps draw attention to it. I'll take 4 strands of Crystal Flash and tie them in on the far side of the hook there. I'll bring it around up under the hook and bring it back along this other side. That way it all gets captured down and I have it on both sides that way. There we go. Trim that off. Then I'll take 2 strands of rubber leg material for each side. If I can pick it up here, there we go. Take 2 strands of this and lay it along each side in the back. I leave them together because it's just easier to work with until I get everything done that I need. Move those up just a little bit there. There we go. Now I'll wrap those in. Add the other set to this side. I even them out when I put them on there. That way I don't have to fight them too awful much. Okay, come on. Wrap those in. And then I'll kind of taper it up to that so it's a little smoother transition there. I'll take a hackle feather and I tie that up along the shank, helping that transition. Go ahead and wrap the thread up a little bit. Add my hackle pliers here. I generally use most of a hackle, but I leave a little bit of red at the very back there. Palmer it back after every wrap. That way it's a little smoother. And wrap it in tight touching turns if possible. Okay, I'll go ahead and tie that off. That's enough. There's a pretty good size hackle, so. Okay, then I'll wrap the thread all the way up to the front. Just making sure the body's pretty flat down underneath there. All the way up to the eye of the hook. Add a quick whip finish here. Go ahead and trim my thread. Alright, now I'm ready for the body. I like to use super glue for the body. Let me check the length of that real quick. Yeah, that'll be fine. I like to use super glue for the body because it'll interact with the foam itself, because I'm using a piece of foam that I cut and shaped. But you have to be quick once you get the super glue on, once you start sliding that body on, because you've got to get it all the way to the back pretty quickly, or else it won't go. There we go. Make sure it's kind of straight in the front there. Alright, now we'll let that set up. There's several ways you can split the legs. Some people pull them and snap them. I just insert a little needle inside the rubber between the two legs, slide it to the forward, and then come to the back. And it seems to separate it out pretty well. And it gives the legs a little bit of motion for if they're in the water. And if you want, you can add a set of legs up in the body here, wherever you'd like them to be. I run the needle in and out a few times to kind of open that up a little bit. And then I use a bobbin threader, or a needle threader for women who sew. After I get the hole through there, I just slide it in, and I leave this portion sticking out so I can thread the leg into it. I've used things like a needle with fishing line on it and everything else, but it seems to be a little bit too large when you're doing this onto a popper. I try to make it as easy as possible. Okay, pull that pretty much all the way in. And then I add a dab of super glue onto the legs so that it'll give it something to adhere to on the foam inside there. And I pull it on into the foam. Make sure they're pretty even. Then I can separate those legs out. And there you pretty much have it. That's about all there is to it. Thanks for watching my video, and that's a bleeding popper.